We often talk about what we gain in life, don't we? New skills, new ways of looking at things, maybe even material stuff.
Hmm.
But this sort of material we're looking at today, it kind of flips that. It grabs you straight away with these really strong ideas, a curse and an inheritance.
It really does. It makes you pause and think about, well, what's really on the line? Like you said, almost spiritual risk versus reward.
Exactly. And for this deep dive, we're using that morning Murli text you shared, the one from April 18th, 2025. We're going to try and unpack its core teachings.
That's the plan. It really focuses on how our conduct, our spiritual focus shapes our inner world, guiding us either towards, well, lasting happiness, that's the inheritance, or towards sorrow, which it calls Maya's curse.
You picked this one out, and it really struck me how direct it is. It's not just theory, is it? It feels like very practical advice.
Absolutely. Less philosophy, more a how-to guide for navigating life's spiritual currents.
And that central question it asks, why do we get cursed by this Maya? What's that even like? That's really what we're digging into today, I think.
Precisely. And the text gives a pretty clear answer, doesn't it? It says, following the Father's directions, that's the term it uses, is the path to limitless happiness and protection from this curse.
Okay, so this curse, it's not like some, magic spell cast on you. The text defines it as the sorrow, the unhappiness that Maya, this negative force, inflicts.
Exactly. It's the direct opposite of the inheritance, which is that profound happiness, that spiritual achievement.
And it sounds like actually having faith in these directions and, following them is crucial even to just see the difference between the two.
Without a doubt. The text makes a point that those who are faithful and obedient can easily grasp this contrast. It suggests that if you ignore the directions, you're sort of cutting yourself off from the source of that inheritance.
Ah, right, a direct link. Choose this path, and that other one gets further away. Okay. So how does this curse actually happen? The text seems to give a couple of main reasons. The first one that jumped out at me was disrespect.
Yes, disrespect towards the Father, and also disregarding the teachings themselves. It calls them jewels of knowledge.
Jewels of knowledge, meaning this study, this wisdom.
That's the interpretation, yes. The text highlights that when people devalue this guidance, maybe ignore it, and instead just follow their own dictates, well, that's when they open themselves up to Maya's influence, to the curse.
So it's about which voice you listen to, essentially.
Right. And it's not just about manners. It's that ignoring the guidance fundamentally disconnects you from the source of happiness. That's a pretty serious consequence for just, going your own way.
Yeah, it's presented as direct cause and effect. Ignore the guidance, follow your own impulses, and sorrow finds a way in. Then there's the second reason, devilish behavior, and not cultivating divine virtues. That feels more internal.
It is very internal. The text actually says this is being merciless towards yourself.
Merciless towards yourselves, wow.
Yeah, it paints this picture of a cursed soul where the intellect gets locked. It hinders spiritual growth, like trying to tune a radio but only getting static. The information, the connection, it just doesn't come through clearly.
So you can't make progress. It mentions not being able to climb onto the Father's heart throne. That sounds like real spiritual stagnation.
That's the idea. It suggests you get stuck.
Yeah.
So it's about our actions, yes, but also very much about our inner state, the qualities we nurture or neglect.
Okay. Now, Maya, sometimes called Ravan in the text, keeps coming up. This powerful negative influence. It seems like a very clear choice is being presented.
A very clear dichotomy. If you're not aligning with the unlimited Father, the text implies you automatically fall under Maya's influence. There's no middle ground, apparently.
It even quotes that saying, God's instructions are to be placed on your head and accepted with love. It really drives home the importance of listening to that guidance, the shrimat.
Exactly. Shrimat, the Father's elevated directions. That's the term we need to remember here. Following Shrimat is positioned as absolutely vital.
And if you don't follow shrimat, what happens then? It sounds like it has knock-on effects.
Big time. The text is blunt. You can't claim a high spiritual status. Even if you understand the knowledge intellectually, you can't really absorb it, embody it, or inspire others with it.
So it affects you and your ability to help others.
Right. The text even says people essentially curse themselves through disobedience and, crucially, by forgetting the Father.
Wow, that analogy it uses, the Lord of the Poor offering unlimited donations. And by ignoring Shrimat, you just miss out, like someone handing you a winning lottery ticket and you just drop it.
That's a good way to put it. And connected to this, flowing from it really, is the need for yoga. remembrance of the Father.
Ah, yes. Yoga, not just the physical kind, right? It means remembrance.
Correct. Mental connection, remembrance. The text presents it as totally essential, going hand in hand with studying the knowledge. You need both.
It says, without this yoga, there's no real spiritual benefit. No purification, no uh, getting rid of past negativity, the sins.
Exactly. No absolution without that connection. It even acknowledges that some people find remembrance difficult. They're weak in yoga.
And the consequence, it mentions punishment and repentance. But again, this doesn't sound like someone externally punishing you, more like the natural outcome of blocking your own progress.
I think that's a fair reading. It contrasts making money, physical income, with the burden of sins that builds up if you neglect remembrance and service. It's an internal weight, a spiritual debt almost.
That analogy of falling from a height and regretting it, it really captures that sense of loss, doesn't it? But if only I'd listened, feeling.
It does. And this links directly to your spiritual status, your standing.
Yeah.
Those who are serviceable and obedient, they get the high status.
While the others,
Yeah.
they end up in a lower position. It uses the metaphor maids and servants.
Yes. It's metaphorical language for a lower level of attainment. It even mentions Dharamraj, the figure representing divine justice and severe punishment for those who keep making the same mistakes, who don't learn.
It really emphasizes taking responsibility for your own spiritual effort through service and self-improvement.
Definitely. Service seems to be the practical application here, putting the obedience and remembrance into action. It benefits you, and it benefits the bigger picture.
Okay, but there's also a warning here, isn't there, about impurity, getting trapped in someone's name and form.
Yes, a strong caution. It sounds like a warning against attachment, getting sidetracked by superficial things, maybe losing focus on the ultimate spiritual goal.
And it talks about bad thoughts and impure vision as direct attacks from Maya, things you have to actively fight off.
Right. Stop them before they cause spiritual damage. Impure vision seems to mean focusing on the physical, the body consciousness instead of the soul.
And maintaining the honor of the clan by avoiding this, that suggests our actions impact the whole spiritual family in a sense.
That's the implication. It specifically calls out lust and anger as the worst vices, major roadblocks to claiming that spiritual inheritance.
It uses that scriptural example, doesn't it? People who drank nectar, divine knowledge, but still became devils because of impurity.
A powerful warning. Even with the best knowledge, impurity can derail everything. It underlines the need for constant vigilance.
Constant vigilance. It really is a journey, isn't it? An ongoing effort. The ultimate goal being returning home.
Yes, and it mentions that song, O Traveler of the Night, do not become weary. Keep going, keep remembering the Father. That's the path home.
And it pushes for self-reflection. Ask yourself, am I remembering? Is Maya fooling me?
Constantly check in. Pure vision is soul consciousness, seeing the soul. Impure vision is body consciousness. Keep the focus on the Father, on the soul.
So if you manage all this, what's the reward? The text talks about an elevated inheritance, the kingdom of the world. That sounds huge.
It is huge, almost beyond normal understanding. Attainable, the text says, through this yoga and study, something you wouldn't even dream of otherwise.
And the Father is pleased when the children, the students, do well.
Yes, the text emphasizes that. The Father enjoys seeing them study diligently, claim a high status. It reinforces that this guidance comes from a place of love.
Helping people overcome weaknesses, become masters of the world, open their spiritual fortune. It's quite a promise.
It is. And it extends outwards, too. It mentions great religious people will learn this yoga eventually. And this idea that the gates of heaven are now opening.
Like a global shift.
A global transformation.
Yeah.
From Tamapradhan, the state of maximum impurity, back toward Satapradhan, the state of purity. It suggests explaining this to people, maybe even tourists.
Using those visual aids, the picture of the tree.
Exactly. The tree, the cycle, the Trimurti image. Tools to explain this vast cycle of time and consciousness. The text believes even one person understanding can spark wider awareness, maybe through media.
The idea is that everyone eventually gets the Father's introduction, maybe through these museums of ancient knowledge it mentions.
It paints a picture of a widespread rediscovery of this knowledge. And it circles back to the importance of service.
Right. Active participation, calling the Father the wholesaler, offering this incredible deal, the kingdom of the world for 21 births.
Quite the offer. And it lists those key visuals again. Trimurti, cycle, tree, ladder, the variety form image, the God of the Gita picture. all aids for explaining.
And it makes you think, doesn't it, about the huge population now in the Iron Age versus the few in the Golden Age. What causes that massive shift?
It prompts that deeper reflection on the cycles of history, geography, and consciousness itself.
Okay, so as we wrap up this part of our discussion, what's the essence of Dharna, this way of life the text prescribes? It gives a summary near the end.
It does. The core points for Dharna are: keep focusing on the Father, stay soul conscious, protect yourself from Maya's tricks, be active in service, and avoid bad habits or negative behavior.
A whole package deal, really. Inner focus and outer action.
Exactly, a holistic path.
And it finishes with a blessing and a slogan. The blessing is about becoming a lord of matter by achieving a state of putting a full stop to material chaos. That feels very relevant right now.
Very relevant. It speaks to finding inner stability even when the world outside is turbulent. Staying centered, whether you're in the physical body, the subtle realm of thought, or the incorporeal state of pure consciousness. Transcending the drama.
And the slogan.
In order to have a right to a kingdom free from obstacles, become a server free from obstacles. It connects that selfless service directly to achieving that highest state.
Clear link. And finally, that Avyak signal, maintaining victory through awareness of the combined form with the Supreme Spirit, experiencing that connection constantly.
Yes, that sense of being partnered with the divine, feeling that presence every second. It's about drawing strength from that continuous connection, not being alone on the journey.
Okay. So bringing this all together for you, our listener, the message seems clear. That path to genuine, lasting happiness, the inheritance, it involves actively following this guidance, this Shrimat.
Right. Consistent remembrance, or yoga, and selfless service are key. And being really vigilant about those negative influences, Maya's traps.
The text really hammers home the importance of respecting the knowledge, cultivating those positive virtues, understanding Maya's power, needing that inner connection through yoga, and the incredible rewards of service and spiritual growth.
Absolutely. And maybe the final thought to leave you with is, where is your vision focused most of the time? Is it mainly on the physical world, which the text suggests is temporary and often illusory?
Or are you actively working on that deeper spiritual connection? How could really grasping this idea of a curse versus an inheritance change how you see things, how you act day to day?
And what might it actually mean for you practically to become a lord of matter in your own life, navigating your own challenges?
Lots to think about there. We definitely encourage you to explore these ideas further, maybe revisit the source material itself.